Hi, and welcome to the Let's Talk Melbourne podcast. I'm your host, Vikas Raheja. The Let's Talk Melbourne podcast is brought to you from the city of Melbourne, where we talk to business leaders, opinion makers, influencers, and change agents. This is a space for critical thinking, open discussions, and the big picture. Hi, and welcome to a new episode of the Let's Talk Melbourne podcast. I'm your host, Vikas. Today, I'm really excited to have someone special on our pod today. And if you live in Melbourne, I'm sure you know or heard of him. It's impossible that you may not have been acquainted with this person. I'll request my guest to introduce himself, if that's okay.
Hi, my name is Sam Bashiry. Thank you for having me on your podcast today. It's wonderful to be here and talk to you, and I'm looking forward to our chat.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you doing this, Sam. Now, Sam, you and I first met at a Tom Brady event, and I was there through work, and I was sitting at a table, and I didn't know anyone there, and you were the only person who was gracious enough and who made me feel comfortable, and you had never met me before that. Mm-hmm. And at that time, I naively asked you, so what do you do for work? And you kindly told me. And then when I told my colleague at work, and I'm like, I met Sam Bashiry, and he was like, what? You didn't know who he was? Like, what is wrong with you? And he's one of the most influential guys in Melbourne. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm a complete embarrassing moment. But what I appreciated was that you were so kind, gracious, and warm to a stranger at an event. How do you manage? And the first thing that struck me that I was wanting to ask you was, how do you manage to keep yourself so grounded, especially in a time where delusion and vanity is everywhere?
First of all, I think you're being way too kind.
No, I'm being serious.
No. I think you're being way too kind. I came from humble beginnings, and I was taught that you always be kind to everybody, no matter what status, how rich, how poor, how successful, how not successful, where they're from. It's not really relevant. I think what's relevant is we are in the same room, and everything starts with a hello. It comes, and I think it's really nice to get to know people. It's lovely to get to know people. It's lovely to be nice to everybody, and I treat people like how I like to be treated. When I'm at a table where I don't know anybody, it's nice when somebody says hello to me, and you start a conversation, and from that conversation you end up having certain things of interest, and from that all starts from there. And I think it's very important to be a good person, and a gracious and a kind person, and I think that's where it all starts from.
Thank you. I appreciated the kindness you extended that day. Now, obviously, you've, when I was doing my research on you and in a lot of interviews, you've sort of said about how you were a refugee and you sort of came here at the age of 11, if I remember.
Yeah, 10, 11.
10, 11.
Yeah.
If you had to look back at the time, what's the one thing, as a child, what was going through in your head? Were you processing what was around you at the time?
That's a good question. I think there's a lot going on. And I think the main focus was just to survive. And the biggest goal was to be accepted into this country and to be able to stay. And I think it's sum all that up by having freedom. I think coming from where I'm from, it's a very beautiful country, and I'm very blessed to have been born in Iran, and it's got a great culture and everything. But unfortunately, one thing that was missing was true freedom, to be able to do what you want, when you want, speak what's on your mind. So coming to a country like Australia and looking for that, and instead being locked up and being behind the barbed wire fence, you're like, well, it's a bit of a shock to the system. So all you're really looking for is to get across that barrier, which is the fence, and having your freedom. And I think that was quite important, especially seeing my mother go through all the things that she went through to support me and my sister, and to survive and to go through all that at such a young age. I think my mum was around 35 years old or so back then, roughly. And she was quite young, and to, bring two kids here and to come to a country without being able to speak the language, without knowing anybody. Truly, she's my hero, because not many people could do that. And I look up to her for that,
That's amazing. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think mothers are the strong force behind all children. Do you remember the time, say, when, a milestone your first milestone, say you would have bought a car or a house,
Yeah.
and do you remember when you told your mom what her reaction was?
Yeah, look, my parents are always very proud of me. But I also was a black sheep of the family because I was the one. My sister has a doctorate, PhD, and she's very well educated and good on her, and she's done very well. And she's worked very hard to be where she is.
Yeah.
But I didn't go down that path. So for me, I dropped out of university. I started working, and I think for me the moment that was the proudest moment for me was when I invited my father to one of my Christmas parties, and he came and looked around and he looked at the caliber of people we had there, and he realized what we have achieved in the last probably 5 or 6 years of starting the business. And he gave me a hug and he said he's very proud of me. And I think that moment was very special for me because as children, I think we really want to make our parents proud.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, no matter what we achieve. I think a lot of us carry that, you call it a burden or whatever you want to call it, we carry that on our shoulders, that we get a lot of accolades from our friends, everybody else, the media, whatever it may be. But the most important is the one that comes from your parents. And I think a lot of parents are different. Doesn't mean they don't love you.
Yeah.
Some show love in a different ways.
Absolutely. Fathers especially.
Yeah,
Yes,
man. I feel they show it a different
especially.
way. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, but the main people that care for you is your family.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Agree. Now, I also believe you met your wife at Swinburne,
Yeah, I
where you
did.
were studying.
Yeah, I did.
What role has your wife played in your success and your ability to keep going?
I think my wife and kids have played the biggest role. You know, people say, "Oh, yeah, but you do yourself." I feel like you can go and do the work yourself.
Yeah.
I guarantee you. She didn't come there and do my work for me. My kids didn't come and do my work for me. I did that. I ran the business. I set it up, but without the emotional support.
Yes.
Without the emotional support, which is, the most important support you can get. I wouldn't be where I am today. Without somebody pulling your head in from time to time and telling you, hey, calm down, relax. You all need that. We all need a kick in the butt sometimes. We all get excited a little bit. So without that, without the emotional support, without the love and all that, you really, I don't think I'll be where I am. Actually, I know I won't be where I am today. And that continues to happen, I think people think relationships and life is easy.
Yep.
We all have our challenges.
Yep.
But what it comes down to is compromise and communication and just never giving up on each other. I think it's very important. People find it very easy to give up on each other these days, whether it's friendship, whether it's partnership, whatever it may be, family.
Yeah.
But if you really want something, you got to fight for it.
Yep.
And I think if you don't fight for it, what is the point, But it's not meant to be easy. But yeah, without them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No, absolutely. That's wonderful. Now, if I have to ask you, when was the idea that came to you that you want to start a company called Aussie Broadband Solutions?
So Broadband Solutions, I really didn't. I didn't really think about it a lot. For me, I was working. I went through the journey, and for me, I one day thought, you know what? I'm really good at what I do. I loved sales, and there's no reason why I can't do it for myself. I didn't sit down and put a business plan together. I didn't really sit down and overthink it. I think a lot of people sit down and overthink things, and it never happens because they sit down and plan it, and they ask for advice, and some people tell them it's not going to work, and then they put that in their mind. So for me, it was just a matter of thinking, I'm really good at what I do. I have a great relationship with my clients. I understand the business quite well. I have been involved in the same industry probably for 5 or 6 years. I started from support. I went to sales. I worked in networking. So I understood all the different aspects and facets of that business. So there's no reason why I couldn't do it more for myself. I didn't go out and raise capital. I just,
you didn't raise any capital?
No capital. No, I had $1,000 saved, which actually I didn't even have that saved. I took that from my credit card. I probably had $400 or $500 saved. The rest I took on my credit card. I registered a domain name. I went Harvey's with the office was as big as this room, and I went Harvey's with some of my friends from Swinburne, which they wanted to set up a support business. So we went Harvey's on their office, and 2 small desks, and that's it. And we started the business, and I never looked back.
It's brilliant.
A lot of people get caught up in getting a fancy office, a fancy this and fancy that. And what happens when you get involved in that, you're already in the black before you even start it by a fair bit. So you're playing catch up, For me, it was just about getting on with business. But to answer your question, it just something that I was good at. I loved what I did, and there's no reason why I couldn't do it for myself. I just gave it a go.
So, but you would always had some natural business acumen to be able to go into it, right? Or was that some of those business instincts or the ability to understand investing and growing those investments come naturally to you, or did you just learn with experience and
Yeah, no, I had no
figure it
idea.
out for yourself?
Yeah, I had no idea. I never sold lemonades when I was a kid. You know, yeah, I used to sell lemonades. I was a kid. I sold this, I sold that. I never sold anything in my life except when I was working for the company. Like I never had an entrepreneurship kind of thing.
Yep.
I never, had my own business. I never set up a lemonade stand, for example.
Yep.
But I was very good at what I did. I was very good in sales. So the business on how to do a business, I picked that up on the go.
On the go.
I remember when I started the business, I realized, it's not just sales. Now I have to do invoicing. Now I have to do accounts payable, accounts receivable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, what the hell is that? I was never in accounts when I worked somewhere else. I had never had exposure to that kind of that part of the business. So, I remember playing MyOb and starting to Google how to use MyOb so I can raise the invoice for my first customer. And I remember missing out, not putting an ABN on the invoice. And the guy said, hey, this is not a legal invoice because it doesn't have an ABN on it. And I said, I think the accounts team made a mistake. I was the accounts team. So, look, I learned everything on the go. I went to university for 3-4 years.
Yep.
For me, I didn't learn anything because I did a subject that I wasn't really that into. But my university has been going on for 18 years. I've learned in the last
You're learning
18
every
years.
day.
Yeah, mate. I learned on the go.
Yeah.
I put myself in the deep end.
Yeah.
I took a lot of risk. I put a lot of pressure on myself. And I never thought about it, but when I do think about it, I did the undoable, I did something that not a lot of people can do.
Exactly.
There's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no nothing, man. We did it the old way.
Organic, all right, yeah, guerrilla style.
Yeah, we did. And and it wasn't easy. And there's so many times I thought, what am I doing? I want to go back and get a job and earn a living, a salary. But I never gave up, man. I think one of the things about me is that if I really want something, I don't give up. If I really want it, failure is not an option. There's no plan B. Just got to get on with it, get it done. And I think if you really want something, you will get it done. You just want it bad enough. And originally for me, it was about changing my life. We were quite poor. We didn't have a lot. So what were the options? Stay like this or do something about it? And what's the worst thing that could have happened? It didn't work out. Who cares? I'll go back to where I was.
It's remarkable. You never... I was just going to ask you that. Firstly, as you said, not everybody has the constitution to do that. Either you have it in you or you don't. I don't think... I mean, you can cultivate it to an extent, I think, but it's something that's there, that, that fire should be there.
Yep.
But you were never scared. You were never worried about what if it doesn't take off and no backup plan. You were that fearless and you just jumped into it and you were like, I'm going to swim and not sink.
Because I had nothing to lose. It can't get worse than where it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, things are pretty shit now, so it can't get any worse than what it is now.
True.
So I think when you got nothing to lose, when you've gone through a lot of pain and a lot of adversity and all that, I think that's what pushes you.
Yeah.
You see a lot of successful people that I won't even compare myself to because they're on a whole different level, but a lot of those people came from adversity and pain.
True, yeah.
They didn't come from a university degree. They didn't get to Harvard and become someone. Look, I'm sure there's a lot of them that are, but a lot of the big people, they came from nothing.
Yeah.
And I think you really must suffer in life to appreciate what you have, but also to push you to become someone. You see a lot of kids that go to private schools and they're given everything and they don't really do much with it.
Yeah.
Because everything's just given to them.
Yeah.
So if everything's given to you,
the hunger is not as much as seven. Yeah.
It means nothing. There's no meaning to it because it's just given to you. You didn't work for it. It was just handed over to you. You won't appreciate it as much.
True. Now, when you were setting up, do you remember a meeting or any kind of project or any kind of thing where someone was like, this is too risky, but you somehow convinced them and be like, you know what? How do you bring them over to your journey and sort of trust in you?
Yeah, a lot of times. And I think, we look after...
Just so that someone who's listening or watching can learn something from that
look, we look at probably a lot of the top 500, Fortune top 500 customers and big clients. We have probably 90% of our clients are very big clients. We don't really have medium or small. So to bring them on board and to win their trust is a big task.
Yeah.
Especially back in those days, a massive task. So how did we do that? We built a relationship. We chipped away slowly. We met. So for me, it was about meeting everybody in that organization from bottom up and having conversations and showcasing what we can do and getting them to understand why broadband solutions and not Telstra.
Yeah.
Anybody can go to Telstra and get a service. For us, it was about spending time. So we look after 90% of all the hotels in Australia. So for us, how do we get into... A lot of those hotels can get to Telstra and buy a service from Telstra tomorrow. Why did I buy from us? Because we understood their business. We went out there and researched their business. We didn't go and sell, okay? So we didn't go and say, oh, here's a service. I can do it for you for $10 less. Come to me. At that level, it's not about the $10. At that level, it's about, hey, I understand that this is how you run your business. I understand that this is how you could run your business with these efficiencies in place. Not only do you get savings, but you also get a better system and a better service for the end user, which is your customers. And you can do this A, B, C. And when you showcase that to them and you show that to them, they see that you actually understand their business, the core business. You're actually adding value to it. And on top of that, you're saving in costs as well. And when you do that, then that's what makes you different. But even by doing that, you got to do more again. You got to become their friend. You got to invest time in it.
Yep.
And then you get one, and then that one becomes your reference for the second one. The second one becomes a reference for the third one. And you got to always go above and beyond.
Yeah.
And you got to over deliver.
Yeah.
People promise the world, and then you really get one chance when it comes to business, especially at that level.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake and you don't get it right because of, you slipped up something, you did the right thing, that's it, where it gets around in business. So for us, we never did that. We always over-delivered. I would say probably over 80, if not more, % of our clients have been clients for over 15 years. It's unheard of in the telecommunications industry, right?
It's amazing.
Because we just do it right. We understand their business. And they don't want to go away. Why would they go away? When it's everything's
giving
perfect.
them premium service.
Yeah, and they love it. The service is there. And I think that's what's important. But it's not a simple task. And I think it can be very daunting, especially at the start when you're small. But just go there and showcase what you can do.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, you just got to be the best at what you do, and you got to understand it quite well.
Okay. Now, what in your interviews, you've often spoken about the importance of networking and how you value that.
Yep.
Now, for some of us, like for me, I'm the worst when it comes to networking. What sort of advice or guidance you can give us for people to, because I think everyone appreciates the importance of networking. Some can't do it. I just can't, for me, I don't even know.
I think maybe because you overthink it, mate. I think a lot of times you overthink things.
Yeah.
I think it's simple as that. You and I networked that night. Said, good day, how are you? Mate, it's networking is just, I think a lot of people are afraid to ask as well.
Yeah.
I think when you meet someone, I think you shouldn't think about it as networking. You should just think about it as one of your friends you just say hello to. You're communicating, meeting people. Are you going to show up to different events?
Yeah.
I used to go to every single event. I don't do it anymore, and I should really get back to it. But I used to rock up to all the events. I used to say hello to the person next to me.
Yeah.
I used to start conversations while I was having coffee between the breaks with someone.
Yeah.
To the events I went to. And it's just about introducing yourself. And I think we find it I think a lot of things that is we find difficulties. And I struggle with this too. Is failure.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to look silly by saying hello to someone. Oh, maybe they don't want to speak to me. And that's not the case. People are quite nice, All you have to do is just introduce yourself. I say, hi, I'm Sam. And start a conversation how's your day? What's the weather like? And just start a conversation. Everything else falls into place, And there's no secret to other than that. But I think a lot of us are afraid to do it. A lot of us get shy. I used to get shy. I used to get afraid. I used to, even before I went to an event, I used to get really, really nervous before I went to it. I'm like, I don't want to go.
It's hard to believe that.
Yeah, no, but I used to, man. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I used to think of every excuse I can think of not to go.
Yeah.
But then when I rock up, I'm like, oh, this is not bad, Yeah. But I think it's very important to do that. Just rock up, say hello, introduce yourself. And don't be afraid to ask, because what's the worst thing? They just say no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, who cares? No.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
But I think we overthink it, and I think we think that we don't want to hear that no, or they might not say hello to us and turn their back to us. But mate, people that are polite, that have manners, don't do that. This is like us. There's no difference between them. So
True. Now, you're obviously leading a big organization as well, right? So, from your experience, what do you think are some of the mistakes leaders often make, and some of the things leaders get it right? Just from your observation with your networking or with your peers and industry and stuff like that.
yeah, sure. Look, I think your team's the most important thing that you have. I think you gotta remember that without your team, you wouldn't be here. I have staff that have been with me for over 10 years now, probably 5 or 6 of them. And they're the backbone of your business. I think you got to always show up to work. Let's say hello to your staff. Be involved not only in work but also their personal life. Know what's happening with them in their personal life, because everyone's going through something in their life.
Yeah.
And you got to be aware of that. Someone might not be performing that well for the last couple of months, and if you don't know what's going on, then you're too quick to judge. So I think it's very important to rock up and understand that, not only work-wise but also family-wise. And I think at the same time, you gotta stay on top of things too. I think it's always nice to be kind and everything as well, but work is work. At the end of the day, you're there to perform.
Yeah.
And if your staff are not performing or you're not performing, you're letting the team down.
Yeah.
And you can't allow that to happen.
Yeah.
But I think in life and everything, there's a way to go about things. There's a nice way to go about things.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important, how you deliver your message. I think, they say, you have to be absolutely ruthless in business to be successful. Perhaps you could, but it's not for me. I could never do that.
Yeah.
For me, it's about being compassionate, but at the same time, if something's not working out, you got to call it.
You got to call it out. Yeah.
I think they say it's very important to take your time to hire people, but you got to be quick to fire people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I kind of more, as time goes on, I kind of believe in that. I think you got to really take your time to get the right person. And the right person might have the right skill sets, but they have to fit the actual environment and the team that you have in place as well at the time. If they don't fit the environment, doesn't matter how good they are with what they do, it's just not going to work out. So I think that's quite important as well.
So when you hire people, do you look for some qualities of yourself in them, or you want someone completely opposite?
You want to get people that have the skill sets that you don't, so they can help you
complement
complement that.
Yeah.
But I think I look for, in terms of people when I hire, I think honesty and integrity and modesty are one of the most important things in life. At the same time, they say you should sell yourself, but you can. But at the same time, I think it's very important to find people that are willing to learn and people that really want to be there.
Yeah.
I think you don't want to get people because they're for salary.
Yeah.
I think you want to get someone that wants to grow, believes in your vision, and wants to grow with their business. And once you find that, I think those are the long-term employees. They're going to stay around for a long time.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you're finding people that are really good at what they do, but they don't believe in the vision and they're not really there for the right reasons, they don't last.
Okay. They don't last. True. Now, I'm sort of curious to get your take on this. Like my dad used to always say, whether you're doing a business or you're investing somewhere, there comes a point where you have to do sort of an assessment to be like, okay, this is going good, let's put in more. But there also comes a time where you have to say, okay, it's time to quit. It's time to cut your losses and go, because it's no other reason. It's just not flying the way you want it to. How do you come to, what's your sort of take on that in terms of like self-assessment versus being ambitious and borderline delusion? I mean, I don't know if that's the right way, but
no, you're right.
Sort of.
I think it's very something you can really struggle with. Yeah. I totally agree with you that you really have to be that way. You know, I wasn't that way when it came to the share market. I just no, I'm not going to sell. I'm going to keep. It's going to come back. Yeah. And then you're $2 million down. You're like, oh shit, I should have made that call. Yeah. Like reality tells you, mate, this is not working out.
Yeah.
Okay, you lost $500,000. Cut your losses and leave it there. You're like, no. It's going down. It's going to come back up. I put more money in. Yeah. You become delusional.
Exactly.
And you're 100% right. And then you look back. You're like, I could have cut my losses at 500.
Yeah.
Now I'm $2 million down. Yeah. Why did I not do that? You have to. Yeah. I think it's something that people struggle with it because of their ego. And the fact,
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you don't want to lose face.
Yeah.
You don't want to lose face.
Yeah.
But sometimes even when there's no one there to look at it, you don't want to lose face to yourself, perhaps, even, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
you know, I saw a reel yesterday from Shaq, and he was saying he went to a car yard,
Yeah.
and he was asking how much his Rolls Royce was, and the guy said, "Hey, can you afford the Rolls Royces?" And he turned around, and he bought 3 of them,
Yeah.
and he thought that was really cool what he did. And I stopped. I'm like, "That's actually cool, man. Like, you're an idiot." So he played you. You know, who the hell
And you
is he?
fell for it.
You
Yeah.
fell for it.
Yeah.
He got a massive commission.
Yeah.
And now you think
stuck
you're the
with
man. You're not the man because you obviously have enough money. You can buy whatever you want. You have nothing to prove to a car salesman
Exactly.
who's just doing his job.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happens. A lot of people fall into that trap of ego, and and they think it's a good thing. And I think your ego could be the best and the worst thing in you. You know,
Agree. 100%.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Look, mate, like your ego is what pushes you to become someone at the start, because it's like, for me,
Yeah.
I never felt good enough growing up as a kid. Okay, I struggled a lot, couldn't speak English, had the worst shoes, didn't do well at school, got picked on at school when I was in high school, the first couple of years of high school. We didn't have a lot of money. Everything was as worse as it could get, except I had the love of my parents, which is the most important.
Yeah.
Other than that, everything was terrible.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, fuck this, I'm not going to let this happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go all out. I'm going to make something out of myself. I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm good enough. And that's what pushed me, right?
Yeah.
That's what pushed me to move forward. But then you get to a certain stage, you got to start losing that ego.
Yep.
Because then how do you ask for help? How do you raise capital? How do you
Yeah.
do this? How do you do that? Everything's
Yeah.
like, no. I'm going to
Yeah.
do it on my own back. I can't ask. I can't do this. I can't do that. And that's when you start losing and go backwards,
Yeah.
right? And I think, going back to what your dad said, 100% right, mate. You got to know when it's time to do certain things, and
It's okay to quit. It's fine. Yeah.
it's absolutely okay to quit.
Yeah.
It's okay to sell your business for $50 million and walk away.
Yeah.
It's okay to do X, Y, Z. It's okay to say, okay, you know what? This strategy that we have for our sales didn't work. So we set up a hello broadband, which we did residential sales. We got up to $200,000 a month revenue within probably 4 months. And then we looked at numbers. It was losing 30, 40K a month because the residential market was terrible and people weren't paying their bills. And I looked at it and I'm like, you know what? Okay, we gave it a go. It worked. It didn't work. Let's just cut our losses and shut it down. And we shut it down, right?
Yeah.
Because if we kept doing that, it would have kept growing. The revenue would have gone up to $1 million. The losses would have kept going up to a couple of $100,000.
Exactly, yeah.
So you would have had this part of your business that's doing well.
Yeah.
And you had this part of your business that was taking everything away. Why? Because you didn't want to lose didn't want to close that business.
Yeah.
So you have to, mate. I think it's a very important thing to do. And I think one of the most important things to remember is that you can't be a certain way with every aspect of your life. And what do I mean by that? Like, if you're go with business, you can't be go with your personal life.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta, and I
Balance.
think because I think we take everything that we are in a certain position and we transfer that to all the parts of our lives sometimes.
That's so true. Yeah, and we don't think about
We
it.
don't think about it.
It just
No.
happens. Yes.
It's like, mate, you know, you don't have to do that because
Yeah.
that's how you fail in your personal life.
Yeah.
I've seen so many young entrepreneurs fail.
Yeah.
And I went through that journey myself. I was younger too.
Yeah.
So you really got to be able to cross the line, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's fair. Now, it's interesting because you posted something on your Instagram. I'm going to come back to your Instagram because I enjoy the content you put there. But I think you posted something, if I remember correctly, you said, we live in a world where intelligent people are silenced so that dumb people are less offended or something to that effect.
Yeah,
and I thought
100%.
that was fascinating. And I agree with it because I feel like we live in a hypersensitive world, especially now, where intelligence is undervalued or devalued, pretty much written off. And you've got these extreme reactions that people get from all the sides. Like,
look, I don't want to be controversial. I think about
no. I mean, yeah,
but it's 100% right, man.
Yeah.
You know, you should be able to. We live in the most beautiful, amazing country in the world. I love this country. This is my country. It's the best place in the world. And one of the reasons why I love this country is because of freedom of speech and being free to be able to do what you want, whenever you want.
Yeah.
And to be able to speak your mind. But unfortunately, more and more, not just here, around the world.
Around the world, yeah.
You're silenced, mate. You can't speak what you say. You know, you should be able to, you should never hate on anyone or anything. I totally disagree with that.
Yeah.
but you should be able to speak your mind.
Absolutely.
If there's something that you don't like, you should be saying, that's totally fine. I have no problems with it, but I don't agree with it.
Yes. Yeah.
But unfortunately, you can't do that anymore. You have to be silenced, because if you do say something, somebody will find something that's offensive about it for their own particular reason.
Yeah.
And for me personally, seeing at schools now being taught that you can be a cat or you can be this is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the hell is that about?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my kids to learn that they can be a cat or this or that. You can't be a cat. There's a cat. There's a dog. You're a human. Like, outrageous. And what's next?
Yeah.
What is next? It's not just that. It starts from somewhere.
Yeah.
And just keeps getting worse
and worse
and worse and worse.
Yeah.
In life, there's a Quran, there's a Bible, there's Judaism, there's all these things. All these things came because of a reason.
Yeah.
And there are set things in these books that say this. Okay, some of them are evolved over time, obviously, because, we're not back in there. But you have to stand for something in life. If you stand for nothing in life and everything's okay, then what is next?
Exactly.
We're not animals.
We're not. Yeah.
We're not animals. And everything's starting to be going down the path that everything's okay.
Yeah.
And you either accept it or you be quiet. If you don't accept it, just
then you're
be
wrong.
quiet.
You're
be
the other-
quiet.
you're
Do
oth-
not
yeah.
talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's actually reversed.
Yeah.
Like, how you cannot, if you say something about something, straight away you're silenced.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong. But I think, if you do hate on something or you talk badly, well, yes, 100%. You should never do that. Each their own.
Yeah.
If you don't like something that someone's doing, just keep walking.
No, absolutely.
You don't have to put your 2 cents into
You don't
it.
be best friends with them.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No,
And
it's not affecting your life. Just do it. But at schools, to be taught it's okay to be a cat, for example, that's
It's
outrageous,
ridiculous,
mate.
yeah.
I'm not paying school fees for my kids to go to school to be taught that it's okay to be a cat. It's not fucking okay to be a
no,
cat.
it's not. I think we all agree on that unanimously. Like that's a bit that's crazy.
And let's say an example of other things that they teach at
No,
schools
I know,
these days,
what you mean. But I think, but that's an important point. I think in a democratic country like ours, dissent is important, and I think what we've lost is being humble and kind. And I think it's good that you reinforce being humble and kind
You have to be,
constantly, because I think I know people who've got like 6 packs or 10,000 followers, and they act like they are God's gift to mankind, and I'm like, oh, calm down,
I think something gets to people's heads, and I think, like you said, it's very good to be kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No,
it's not hard at all.
It's just common sense,
Yeah.
But common sense is not common sense anymore.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask you 2 things before we jump into your Instagram, and we also have a fun game. Now, the other thing which you do, you do raise a lot of you do a lot of charity work as well.
Yep.
And I believe you, and please forgive me if I don't get this wrong, you're involved with
Children's cancer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you talk about how important, the work you do, and how people who want to support that cause, what they can do? Yeah.
So the CEO there for Cure. Why did I get into it? Because my nephew Lachlan had leukemia at the age of 3. He's doing really well now. Touch wood. So for me, that was something that was personal. I went through that experience, watching him grow. So CEO Dare to Cure is basically they raise funds to be able to assist children that are going through cancer through research and find what medications suit them the best and how to actually help them through their journey. So I've been involved in that for the last 3 years. So every year we raise funds. I raise funds through my Instagram. I think last year we did $60,000. The year before we did 50, and the year before that we did around the same amount. And then I do a night at the business table where we get people together, and all the profits from that go to that cause. And it's something that's really close to my heart. So and this year again, towards the end of the year, we'll probably do a night at the business table, bring everyone together again, which is a great event. Everyone gets to network, everyone gets to meet. There has to be dinner because we have to always eat, otherwise forget about it.
Of course.
So we grab a nice meal, and then I'll bring some entrepreneurs from my own country that talk about their journey and
Oh, that's wonderful.
how they've achieved, what they've achieved, and why they are there. And everybody connects us. That's what I do. With,
I'm definitely coming to the next one.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you there.
And I'll definitely be there. And no, thank you for doing that, because I lost my mom to cancer. She was 36. So yeah, this is any support that anyone does for cancer is absolutely remarkable.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
No, thank you for that. And because you've been asked these questions hundreds of thousands of times in all the interviews that you've done. What advice would you give to someone who's doing a startup or who wants to invest? But I still want to change the question and ask, what is the one mistake you don't want them to do when they're
very
doing
good
that?
question, man. There's a lot of things. Number one is go slow. Just take your time and reduce the risk. I think people come up with an idea and they get super excited and they see others maybe take off straight away and they think that their idea will take off straight away as well, so they go all in.
Yep.
I think you got to really take your time, reduce the risk. Reducing the risk is the most important thing, as much as you can when you're starting off. And I think also just don't get caught up with what others have to say. People care too much about other people's opinion. Just fucking do you.
Yeah.
If you were to listen to everybody has a say. Yeah. But they're not you.
Yeah.
And everybody always listens, oh my God, so-and-so said that I should not do it because it's not a great idea. How does so-and-so know? Yeah. So-and-so said that I should not do this, I should do that. Just stay in your own lane. Stay in your lane, do your own thing, and then don't get caught up with what everybody else has to say. Yep. And just focus on yourself and don't get caught up in that.
Eyes on the ball. Yeah.
Yeah, eyes on the ball. That's it.
Yeah. Awesome. Now, we're going to play a bit of a fun game.
Yep.
All right. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions.
Yep.
And you can say yes or no or choose one of them.
Yep.
And it has to be fast, furious questions. We call it the Furious 10.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. So, if you were to invite 3 dinner party guests, dead or alive, whom would they be?
Good question. Definitely Al Pacino, because I absolutely love that guy. I love all his movies.
Do you have a favorite Pacino movie?
I love Carlito's Way. That's one of my favorite movies. Charlie. I will invite one of the old presidents, US presidents, probably. Actually, wouldn't mind getting to know Obama a little bit more. I think there's a lot more to him.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably have my grandfather there because I never got to meet him.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It'll be nice to have some time with him because I never really got to meet my grandfather. So yeah, it'll be nice to know.
That would be one hell of a dinner fun, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Now, you've been invited for a dinner date with the following 2 personalities, and you can only choose one: Beyonce or Taylor Swift.
Beyonce anytime. I'm going to Taylor Swift. I actually ended up getting some tickets yesterday for my kids, which blew them away. So they're super happy. But I'll pick Beyonce any day.
Fair enough. Those tickets are really, really hard to get. So,
hard to get. I don't know how I fluked it. Yeah, I was very blessed.
Now, from your current car collection, if you had to trade one car for any other car in the world, which one would that be? You have to give up one car.
Give one up.
Yeah, and get any other one.
To be honest with you, I love all my cars, but they're just a metal. I'm not really attached to them, so I could give up any of them and it wouldn't bother me. Yeah, mate. Look,
even the one, the limited edition, the 250.
Yeah, don't care. I love cars. I love nice things, and I think it's very important for people to get this. Yeah. But I'm not attached to them. Okay. I could lose anything tomorrow except, God forbid, my family and my close friends. Yeah. The rest I don't care about. But the least liked probably could.
Least liked. Yeah.
Probably the Pista Spider.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car. It's very nice to look at. It's limited edition, but it's not a proper V12. I love the sound of a naturally aspirated V12, whereas my other cars mostly are naturally aspirated V12s. And I think it goes back to being old school. A proper Ferrari should be a V12. Yeah. A proper Lamborghini should be a V12. And more, they went from a V8 to a V6. Now they're going to go electric. I don't know what's next. So probably,
totally,
probably the V8.
We'll be just walking everywhere soon. So,
it's going to be good for our health.
And which car would you get?
I would love to get a Bugatti. I've never had a Bugatti. I've never actually sat in one. So I'll definitely, something that I really love to have at some stage.
Now, you said the least like. Do you have a car currently in your possession that you like the most?
I love my Rolls Royce the most. Yeah, I drive it every day. Like today, it's a beautiful day in Melbourne, sunny day, and I thought, I'll get one of the sports cars. I'm like, fuck, I can't be bothered. My back's going to hurt. I'm going to scratch the rims. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how tight the streets are. Yeah. Straight away, that's the go-to car because it's just comfortable, man. It's just nice to drive.
Awesome. What's your favorite holiday destination?
I love Turkey.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't been there for a long, long time. Probably 20 years since I've been there, but I'd love to go back there. But something that I'll go regularly is Italy. I go to Italy every year, and I go to Europe every year, and I absolutely love Europe. It's just beautiful.
Okay. Now, Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos? Pick one.
Jeff, probably by miles, yeah.
Yeah. Your favorite luxury brand?
I love, there's a couple, but I definitely love Dior and Dolce & Gabbana.
Okay.
Oh.
I love Dior too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is different to the rest.
By the way, I'll come back to your Instagram. So, what advice would you give to your 21-year-old self looking back now?
Just don't stress out as much as you did, you know, just go for it, which I did go for it, but I think I stressed it a little bit too much, but I would just not stress out as much, and the reason why I wouldn't stress as much is just slow down a little bit. I think, you know, sometimes it's okay to slow down. More and more I learned that sometimes it's okay to sleep on things.
Yeah.
You don't have to make a decision right there and then.
Okay. And if you were to write a memoir, what would your memoir be called?
Oh, that's a good question. What would it be called? Maybe Slow Down.
Slow down?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's a good one. That's a good
Maybe.
one. Yeah. Now, do you... and if there was a movie to be based on your life, which actor would you like to play your part?
Well, we can't get Al Pacino because I'm not a gangster, so...
And he's too old.
He's too old.
There'll be a lot of de-aging. There goes the budget. Yeah.
You know who I actually don't mind? I think he's fantastic. I like Eric Bana.
Yeah, Eric Bana.
Eric Bana is Australian because you got to have someone that's Australian. Right?
Yeah, true.
I reckon Eric Bana would do a great job. So,
Okay, that's awesome. And what would you like your legacy to be?
I think my legacy would be about leaving something behind that helps others to achieve what they never thought they could achieve. I think it's very important to leave behind the thought of kindness and to be able to help people, underprivileged people that are in my shoes at my age. You know, I love to help people that come to Australia as refugees, and I'll be able to, if I can help those people to achieve their goals, then I'll be a very happy man.
That's wonderful. That's
Because
really
I've been
wonderful.
there before. I don't know what it feels like. And I
Yeah.
think there's so many, you know, just around here even, you know, the commission house is close by. Like, man, there's so many young kids stuck there that have so many dreams and they're just stuck there,
Yeah,
you know. And I think to be able to tap into that
yeah,
and maybe out of 100, just pick one
yeah,
and change their life,
yeah.
fuck, that'd be cool. You
That'd be
know?
cool.
I think coolness is different to different people. Having nice cars and going out and partying and that, yeah, that's cool. But grabbing someone,
Changing life. Yeah,
that's fucking cool.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's fucking cool.
That's awesome. Now, coming to your Instagram. Now, one of the coolest things about your Instagram, which I really enjoy, is that you balance it out well. So you've got these really cool content where you're helping people and, you know, giving them advice and sharing your experiences and making sure, you know, that message is spread across. But there's also cool stuff in terms of, there's one where I think you owe a Louis Vuitton trench coat, which is in velvety blue, and I was like, fucking, I want that. But that was so awesome. What's your fashion? What's the source behind that fashion persona that you have?
I'm not afraid to be loud when I wear things, you know.
But what's your style is probably what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, man, like my style is like, I look in the mirror, if it looks good, I wear it. You know, I think you got to also wear things that suit you.
Yeah.
And I wore that jacket. I'll tell you a story about that jacket. I wore that jacket probably a year before I bought it.
Yeah.
I was at the Louis Vuitton store in Collins Street. I went to buy a few things, and I saw this jacket. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is fucking cool.
Yeah.
I put it on. I'm like, wow, I really want this. Thinking that, you know, the thing's going to cost $5,000. I'm like, hey, okay, fuck, I'll buy that. And it was $42,000 or something. I'm like, I'm like, what? 42 grand for a robe? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I took it off and I put it back.
Yeah.
But I didn't stop thinking about it, man. I'm like, man, I really want that. I really want that. But I felt guilty.
Yeah.
I felt really guilty,
Yeah.
you know. And every time I buy something nice, I feel very guilty. And something that I'm working on, you know. And then a year and a half later, I went to the different store and we were looking at something with my wife. And then they're like, oh, yeah, you know, I've got to show you something. And the lady brings that. She goes, oh, I've seen this a year ago. You know, it's the last one left. And my wife just looked at me. She goes, just fucking buy it. I know you want it, you know. And I'm like, oh, no. She's like, just get it. And I'm like, okay, you know. So that's where that came from. And I'm not afraid I'm not afraid to be loud or wear what I like, you know.
But you're a more cool, casual style, whatever.
Yeah,
as you
man, like
said.
I wear shorts and a tee, you know.
Yeah, okay.
I used to wear a lot of suits, but unfortunately, I put a bit of weight on, you know. I don't wear suits anymore.
That outfit is fantastic. I
Thanks,
looked at
man.
your Instagram post. I was like, "Fuck, that is awesome."
Yeah, Drake wore that actually. There's a couple of clips of Drake wearing it and a couple of other people wearing it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And so with your Instagram, do you, when you create content or when you're posting something, do you like through your head go through it or whatever comes to you
It comes to me
instinctively
at that moment.
and
At
you
that
just do it
moment,
immediately?
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Like I'm not an influencer. I don't make $1 from my Instagram. I will never ever. And you can have my word on this program, and it can be on thing that I will never ever make a cent from it. I will never promote anything for money. I'm not interested in using my Instagram for anything but really giving back and sharing my life with people.
Yeah.
So based on that, there's no planning. It's you know how a lot of songs come from the artist how they felt or
Yeah.
memory they went through.
Yeah.
So everything comes from how I'm feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
So how I feel, I'm like, oh, this is how I'm feeling. So I'll grab that feeling and I'll put it out there on my Instagram.
Yeah.
So that's where it comes from, and it's really just to give back to people, and you know, it's incredible. You know, a lot of my good friends give me a hard time about it. You know, they pick on me because they love me and they give me shit about it. You know, my posts and stuff. But I honestly get so many wonderful messages. Like I get so many amazing messages from young kids saying, you know, I was having
And
such
the
a
other thing I
bad
was going to
day.
say, you give a lot of interviews to young kids as well.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because why not? You know, why
Yeah.
not? Like, you know, and I'll get so much feedback saying, you know, you made my day. I can't believe you just said that. That's how I was feeling. Thank you.
Yeah.
And you know, again, like, why not? It's so nice to give back. You
Yeah.
know. Okay, I took 10 minutes of my time to put a story up, 5 minutes to put a post up, and you know, when I put nice things up, it's just to show people that if they really want it, it's achievable.
Yeah.
It's never there to show off. It's never there for any other reason. I really, you know, don't need to in my life at this stage. So
Yeah, absolutely.
it's really nice to do that, and I think that's why I have my Instagram. And, you know, my dad's always like, "Oh, just cut this thing off. What do you need it for?" You know, and I'm like, Dad, you know, as long as I'm getting messages that's helping people, I'll keep doing it. And when that stops, then there's no point in doing it anymore.
Though I think it's remarkable, and I enjoy everything from fashion to your cars to the messages and the charity stuff that you do. Because, you know, at the end of the day, we all also want to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah,
That's important because we
It
can't
is.
always not have fun.
so
I
well
think,
said, man.
yeah, so that's awesome. Now, two questions we
Yep.
ask at the end of the podcast to
Yep.
each of our guests is that what's the one thing you love about living in Melbourne?
Man, I love everything about Melbourne. I love the food culture.
Yeah.
If you know me well, you know that I'm out eating probably 2-3 times a week. That said, you know, my wife's the best cook. But I still go out a lot with the family and stuff and friends. So I love the food culture.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I love Flinders Lane. There's so many beautiful restaurants down
Yeah.
Flinders Lane. There's so many amazing restaurants down Burke Street. So food is very important to me, and I think that's really what represents Melbourne, as well as fashion and good people. People in Melbourne are much more approachable than people in a lot of other cities.
100%. That's why I live in the CBD because I love living in the city.
Yeah,
It's
see?
it's
How good is it, man?
It's the best thing.
It is pretty cool.
And what's your anthem song?
You know what I love? I mean, this is probably a lot of people think, what the fuck? I love the song Man Down Under. You know that song, Man Down Under?
Actually.
You gotta listen to it,
Okay,
man.
I will listen
It's
to it
an
tonight,
Aussie
yeah.
song.
Yeah.
And it's called Man Down Under.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool song.
Okay.
It's a very Aussie song.
Okay. Cool.
It's a song that they will play if a Aussie boxing champion was coming to the ring.
Oh, awesome. All right.
So
cool.
let's give it a listen. You'll like it.
All right, we'll do that. Well, we're at the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for doing this, Sam. I appreciate it. And if I may say so, if you'd allow me, I think congratulations on everything you've achieved. And, you know, it's as someone who's also migrated in this country to look at the work that you do and all that you've achieved, we all take a bit of pride in you. And I'm not saying this because you're here and because it's that I've never said this. So people on the pod would know that I've never said this before. But I think we, as a city and as people, it's important to appreciate and acknowledge success from Melburnians because at the end of the day, we all get inspired. We all get inspired. And the hope and inspiration is the only thing that keeps us going, I think. So thank you for And I wish you all the best. And I hope that you continue to hope and inspire generations to come.
Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, and thank you for having me here today. And thank you for, getting to know each other. And I think, I'll look forward to our friendship for a long term. And, without people like yourself and me and many other people that are migrating to this country wouldn't be what it is.
I agree. On that happy note, we're going to end the podcast. Thank you so much. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll see you next time. This podcast has been recorded from Image Online Studio in Abbotsford. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel and also follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk Melbourne.